Is anyone out there? We're back. We're back for good. I'm celebrating 5 years as an investor. And to celebrate this date, I decided to come here and share my 5 steps or 5 things that I learned after 5 years investing every single month. Are you ready for it? Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and here we are to share some of my learnings as an investor. So let's crack on with it. Learning number 1, investments go up as well as down. So what do I need? What do I mean by this? First of all, I started investing in 2019. To be precise, 29th of July of 2019. So that's when I put my first money into investments. 6 months later, so just to be clear, I put £2,000. And at the end of the first year, so at the end of 2019, I made a whopping £13.52. Are you impressed? I wasn't. Anyway, a year later, and I wrote this down because I will forget, a year later, I made £926.53. It's not that I made this money. My investment grew by £926.53. Not impressive either, right? Wait. So if you want to find out how much I have or how much my investments have grown over the past 5 years, stay until the end of this video and I will share how much they have grown. But for now, before I go any further, please like this video, share, subscribe to the channel because we're going to be here very often sharing learnings with you. Let's crack on with it. So, just to conclude, my learning number 1 is that not to conclude, just to carry on with it. So, I started investing in 2019. And what happened in 2020, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, happened. So my investment value went down, but like down, scary down. And what did I do? I could have just be as scared as other people, but I also used this time as an opportunity to buy more investments. So some of my investments were very, very low, but also it was an opportunity for me to buy more investments because everything was on sale. So if a share was worth £10 at that time was worth, I don't know, £4, for example. So I bought everything on sale, but the investments that I had already purchased were down. So lesson number 1 is investments go up as well as down. And a lot of people speak to me and say, Leticia, I really want to invest, but I want this money to be available to me at any time that I can just go and take the money. And when people say this to me, I already started to think, are these people actually ready to invest? Because there are things that you can do so you don't need to take this money from the investments. Because investments, just to remind you, are a long-term game. Is some money that you put to work for you, and you need to forget about it for at least, as a minimum, 3 years, 3 to 5 years. Forget about it. But you need to have the strategies in place to be able to allow your money to stay there and work for you. So, lesson number 1, investments go up as well as down. Which takes me to lesson number 2. And the lesson number 2 is create the space in your personal finances for you to become an investor and to remain as an investor. And what do I mean by that? So, as some of you know, before I started Master Your Finances, I used to be a marketing manager. And I used to have a full-time job. I was a senior marketer. And I used to fund Master Your Finances with my corporate job. And life was good. it was very easy to invest because my salary was quite high and I was keeping a very simple lifestyle. So 2 years later, I resigned from my marketing job. Then that's when the game really started because it was a real challenge for me to get myself paid and also make enough money to be able to carry on as an investor. But I my life, as I said, my lifestyle was very simple. So it wasn't too difficult to transition from a life where I was getting paid loads of money to not a lot of money as an entrepreneur just at the beginning of my journey. So I made investment a priority in my life. So, if you want to become an investor and to remain as an investor, you should prioritize your investments because don't get me wrong, money is not just going to be left at the end of the month for you to nicely and easily invest. You have to prioritize it and make it work for you. So, lesson number 2, create the space in your life for you to become an investor and to remain as an investor. And now we are going to lesson number 3. So, lesson number 3 is you will make a lot of mistakes, or I personally made a lot of mistakes along the line or along my journey. And it's normal. Everybody makes mistakes. But what's important is that not only you learn from your mistakes, but you never stop learning. So I made a lot of mistakes at the beginning when I started to invest. Obviously, I learned from these mistakes and I share my mistakes with everybody who asks me, especially my programs, my mentoring programs. I share with people so they don't need to make the same mistakes, because these mistakes, guess what? They cost time and money. And I'm in my 40s already, so I can't really be losing money and time anymore. So mistakes really are really costly. So, but for you to avoid mistakes, you have to commit yourself to continuously learn new things. And what I say is that once you become very comfortable with a certain investment, you want to go and do different things. But before you do this, you need to make sure you have learned enough about what you're already doing before you move on to a next challenge. And that's what's going to happen naturally. So, lesson number 3 is never stop learning. And now, lesson number 4, investing does not need to be complicated. And I'm going to repeat that. Investing does not need to be complicated. And by the way, if you haven't liked this video or subscribed to the channel, please do that now. I don't want to have to ask you again. Anyway, so investing doesn't need to be complicated. As I said at the beginning, I'm in my 40s and I cannot afford losing money. I think it's very important that you spend your time creating the life that you want and leave your money working for you. And for that to happen, you don't need to invest in anything complicated. Some people think, oh, I'm going to invest in this woozy platform. I'm going to invest in some cryptocurrency or this or that. You don't need to. You can invest in much simpler stuff, and it's going to give you the returns that you need in order to create the life that you want. You can leave it running automatically, so you have time left to do other things in life, including learning, including living the life that you want, including traveling, including whatever you want. You don't need to complicate your investments. And that's why I personally invest the majority of my investments in index funds and ETFs. And some people might say, but this is for beginners investors. It's up to them. What I say is what works for me. So I am only going to share things that have worked for me and worked for other women that I have worked with in the past. So don't complicate what doesn't need to be complicated. Invest in a platform that is cheap, is secure, your money is protected, and you can automate your investment so your money will continuously grow automatically without you having to be monitoring 24/7. So simplicity. Money or investment doesn't need to be complicated. Which brings me to lesson number 5, which I actually forgot about. So I'm going to, yeah, I remember now. Time is your best friend when it comes to investing, because you can invest £1,000,000 in 1 year. This money is not going to grow. Why? Because the principle of investment, the principle that makes your investment grow, is compound interest. It's not only compound interest, but also you're investing, gaining value with what? Time. So that's why they say the best time for you to start investing is 20 years ago. And the second best time is right now. So, as I said at the beginning that my investments grew only by £13 and 52 pence after 6 months I had started. So I wrote down the other numbers that my investments grew here so I can remind myself. So in the first year, in 2019, I started investing exactly a year later. My investments grew by £926 and 53 pence. On year 5, guess how much my investments grew by? £34,825 and 88 pence and counting, because some time has passed. Some of my investments grew in value. So if you have, if you have time in your hands right now, or if you don't know how to invest, it's the time right now. And if you don't know where to start, stay here. I'll be sharing a lot of information and a lot of knowledge to help you start investing in the UK or wherever you like, however you like, because number one, investing doesn't need to be complicated. Number two, you have to keep on learning. Number three, time is your best friend. Number four, prioritize your investments. And number five, no, you don't need to make mistakes, and investments go up as well as down. So if you have time to let these investments do what they need to do in order to grow, you're going to be on the winning side down the line. And if you have liked this video, share, comment, subscribe to the channel, because I'll be sharing more videos and I'll be interested to know what did you find useful about this video today. And I'll see you next time.